stand till on jersey in the stands. I'ma hit you on the slide.
We need to get some host Haley. We need to get some host Haley shirts. I'm telling you, we got to figure it out because I have the Team Fluent.
Yeah.
I love that.
That is dope.
Simple,
okay.
simple and clean.
I was saying that the material. I'm sorry that I'm banging my mic. I apologize to those watching, or listening on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you guys are listening. But also check out the back. It's got the Fluent and Chill logo on the back. On the back, the material you can see is very thick. It's like I put it on. It fits true to size. It's beautiful. So I'm just. I don't know.
Not gonna shrink up.
No, I washed it already because you need to wash them once you get them. So you can either pick Team Chill, Team Fluent. We got That's Not Ridiculous t-shirts and hoodies. We got Now You're More Fluent t-shirts and hoodies. More stuff coming every week. I think I'm going to drop 2 new products. We've got, what else do we have? Oh, this is good right here. Another line from Jay. There's no super teams. One of my lines. KD's not a superstar is coming. Host Haley is coming. So
I don't know if I can wear that t-shirt, but okay.
Which Haley?
KD is not a superstar.
Haley? Oh, KD's not a superstar. No. I'm buying you one of those. Right. Actually, I'm buying you. You know which one I'm buying you, Jay? I'm buying you this one. I might get you, Haley, this one too. It says 23 plus 45 is greater than 23 plus 6. And if you don't get it, then you don't get it. But if you get it, you get it.
Oh man!
Did I ever tell you?
FIFA was asking. FIFA boy was asking, "Where's the link at?" Where
the link will be in the comments. JD's gonna drop that link in the comments. But you can go to FLUENT CHILL at myshopify.com.
Yeah,
we're working on the website, so sportsfluent.com will be up soon, and that'll be the homepage. Will be all the merch. But tons of merch there. It's good stuff. I'm glad that I got a pre-order to like make sure, because I don't want to put crappy stuff out there. So it's good stuff. Which makes me happy. And here's the best part. To the people in the chat, to the people listening to the podcast, send us your ideas. If there's a line that we say that you like, if there's something you think is funny, I'll make it. I design them myself, so I will make that. So that's my commitment to you guys, is that I'll make them, because I learned how to do it now, and I have so much fun with it. So I'm sitting there playing around doing all this crazy stuff. It's nice.
We're involving you guys. It ain't just us. We're involving you guys. You guys are involved in it. So let us know what's going on.
When was the last time Nike said, "Hey, we want you in the process"? You know what I mean? Like that's what we're doing here.
I don't think I'm allowed to have a say on that one for job security.
100%. Yeah, and listen, and just listen. Right. For the 78% of our audience is male, which means that 22% is female. You've got Mrs. Fluent and Mrs. Chill shirts coming. So and the host Haley line. So we got stuff. We got stuff. Did I ever tell you guys a story about Tony Delk?
What about him?
Tony Delk from the University of Kentucky. Did I ever tell you that story?
No, what happened?
I don't think I've heard it.
I was there for like summer league, summer camp. I don't know what you want to call it. And him and Tony Delk and Jay's old teammate, high school teammate, Roderick Rhodes, were my team. Like they were the leaders of our team. We were at the University of Kentucky. And so Tony Delk was big on giving everybody nicknames. And so he gave everybody on the team a nickname except for me. And I went, "Yo, like, that's not cool." He goes, No, I got something special for you. And if you don't believe me, you can go to Sports Fluent. There's the interview that I did with him 30 years later, where he's like, "Oh man," and he tells the story about why he did this. So he then goes to address all the campers and welcome them there, introduce Coach Pitino, all that kind of stuff. And so but there's one guy I want everybody to meet, and he makes me stand up and come up to the front. And I'm thinking, okay, he's gonna whatever. Okay, whatever. I'm that type. I don't mind. I used to be an actor as a kid. I was like in a couple of movies and commercials as a kid.
Okay.
So he goes, so we got Hollywood, and he's like, his name is Hollywood. And I'm like, "Why are you calling me Hollywood?" He said, "Well, everybody was here, warming up, stretching, getting their shots in." And a little sidebar, there was a cheerleading camp at the same time as our basketball camp. So there was like 2,000 cheerleaders outside. So he's like, Hollywood was making sure his shorts look good, his hair looked good, Hollywood. So it kind of stuck. And then the funny part is when I go to university in West Virginia, my roommate and I are like, hey, let's go around campus and meet some people. And someone says to me, I know you. I'm like, no, you don't. He goes, no, I know you. And he goes, University of Kentucky. You're Hollywood.
Yep.
And so he tells everybody the story. So I was kind of, man, I hated that. I really hated that name. But that being said, now in this age, I decided to pursue my Hollywood dream again a little bit. And, I went and did an audition. I got a role, just a little. It's a little. I'm the main character's shady boss. That's what I do. I run some illegal businesses. Every time it's a different business, I've been talking about them ones for a while. About 4 months now, 3 months. I've been telling you guys. We finally got the first trailer, and it's coming out. The way that they're going to release it is it's coming out on CBC Gem, which is a Canadian app that shows shows. And everyone's like, CBC Gem, what's that? Well, that's where Schitt's Creek. Creek. If you've heard of the show Schitt's Creek, that's where it launched from, with CBC Gem. Shout out to my cousin Costa, who was a producer and won an Emmy for that show. Congratulations, bro. So it's going to start on CBC Gem and then move over to Netflix. So I believe JD has that trailer. So I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I enjoyed making some of it. So I promise we'll get to sports because there's so much going on in the NBA and NFL. But JD, if you don't mind, sir, I really appreciate you to.
The CN Tower. This is what people think of when they hear Toronto. I'm from the real Toronto. You know, the Toronto with immigrant parents. Siblings that are clearly not immigrants.
What's up, idiot? That's me. That's how close I am to qualify into the medieval lasers tournament.
Co-workers from all around the world.
You could be selling those sketches you do as NFTs and make a shitload of money, man.
And some that are from here.
And it is a prime location for picking up some sweaty chicks, huh?
Well, at least I think they are. Shady bosses.
So we got
come on down.
Bunch of different.
We need to talk.
And of course, our friends that speak native Toronto.
Anyways, yo, wow, Rex, what are you dealing with, fam? Yo, to be honest, I heard you got fired today still.
Bro, nice that, fam. You don't know about all that, fam.
This is Dim Ones, a show that represents the Toronto that you and I grew up in. Stay tuned.
Thanks, JD. Thanks, JD. So that's the trailer. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
That was good. That was cute. I'm excited. So give us a date. When can we go check it out?
Okay. I have to tell you probably on Tuesday. So the premiere party, with the launch party we're doing tomorrow night, which is Friday. So if you're in Toronto, Friday, July 15th, come to, it's called Taco Taco, is like a lounge. We're going to have food, music, DJs, live performers. There's going to be some celebrities up in there. And we're going to premiere the show. And then after that, I'll have a date for when it's actually available for people to watch. I hate post-production because it's like we finish shooting probably, well, when it's finished shooting, because it's when I cut my hair. When that piece off the back came off, that's when we finished shooting. Because my next character, so Mr. Colt is my character. I'm the shady boss, obviously, as it showed in the trailer. And like every time I'm gonna have a new business, but I'm also gonna have a new look, maybe an accent. You never know. Okay, that's enough about me. Haley, thank you. I appreciate you guys letting me have.
No, I appreciate it. I'm
self-indulge
excited.
a little, but I'm excited. I'm excited. So I wanted to put it out.
You gotta let people know. I'm excited. Well, after that, we have so much to get into. But for those of you just tuning in, thanks for joining Fluent and Chill. And what's up, Nick? I see you in the chats. Roddy Ice, you guys are 100 for always being with us. Honestly, I had a whole set of things to talk about, but Deandre Ayton has been a name just circulating all over today. So honestly, I just want to start digging into that. We just recently got some breaking news about 30 minutes ago. that the Suns have finally made a move. We thought possibly we would have to wait, a few more hours, but it looks like we have some things kind of going on. So Jay, tell us, if you can kind of recap for everybody listening, what you've seen and what can we expect with Deandre Ayton moving forward?
Well, he was the number 1 pick in the same draft with Luka and Trey, and he kind of underperformed. And the reason why I say he underperformed, because if you look at that draft, all of those other guys got paid. Luka got paid. Trey got paid. Not only did Trey get paid, MPJ got paid. Shea got paid. Everybody got paid. Add that to the fact that everybody on his crew got paid. Chris Paul got paid. Bridges got paid. Book just got extended. So what does that tell me? That tells me that you aren't in our future plans. Well, maybe you are. Only except we don't like the number that you're at, which is why we have what's called a restricted free agent. Now, Tone, you being a football guy, I equate restricted free agent very similar to the franchise tag.
Franchise tag.
I equate it to the franchise tag in the sense that when you get a franchise tag on you, what basically is going on is the market is going to determine what your worth is. Okay, so the going rate on the top 5 wide receivers is $14 million. So you don't have to go out and find that because the market already has been set. That's what it is. Well, if you're a restricted free agent and you think that your number is this, well, a team says you go out and you find out what your number is. And if we like it, we'll match it. If we don't, more than likely we'll let you go. Well, Ayton found out that his number is about 132, 133. Well, Phoenix likes 133 better than they like 190. They like 133 better than they like 175. Now, from a business standpoint, this makes a lot of sense. And this was something that was right from the beginning that I thought was going to happen. There was no reason for them to just let him walk out the front door, number one. Number two, to sign and trade him. Because if they let him go on opening night, if tomorrow was opening night and they let him go, their starting 5-man is, and Tone loves this guy, but their starting 5-man is Bismack Biyombo. That's who they're going with. Tone loves Bismack.
He's a nice dude. He's a good dude.
Yeah.
Bismack Biyombo is their starting 5-man. So from a business standpoint, this makes a lot of sense for Phoenix simply because number one, now they have him locked in at the number that they like. And if they want to move him and they want to move off of him, they can get pieces to retool their squad. So this was smart business for Phoenix, was it? And I also think that they did right by him by letting him go out and find out what his market was. If it was 150, if it was 160, then go find that. Otherwise, this is what the number is. This is what the market demands for you. So this is what we're going to pay you. We're not going to Tone, what we're not going to do is we're not going to outbid ourselves because we can pay you the most. That's who we are because we own your rights. We're not going to outbid ourselves. So once you go out and find out what the market is for you and what your price is, and if we like it, we're in business. That's just smart business. And Phoenix is notorious for not paying guys. They're notorious for not paying guys, which is why they like this guy at 133 as opposed to 150, as opposed to 175. So, and they get their crew back. I think that some things need to be worked out, though, Tone. I think that this relationship between him and Monty Williams looks like it's a little strained, and I think that that needs to be fixed. I also think that they need to involve him more in a different way in the offense because when they involve him early, it's obvious that when they don't involve him early, it's obvious that he doesn't play the way he normally plays. He doesn't rebound as much. He doesn't rim run as much. He doesn't defend as well. But when they involve him early, he does rebound more. He does rim run more. He does rebound more. But the downside to that is they're under 500 when he's getting over 20 a game. So something has to change between them. I don't know if it's the fit. I don't know if it's the coaching between him and the relationship between him and Monty Williams. Something's going on there, Tone. But from a business standpoint, I like what Phoenix did.
Yeah. So listen, I'm looking at this actually a little bit differently. First off, for Ronnie Smith,
To be the man, you gotta beat the man.
And then we do have our good friend, one of our guys in the chat, cups to the rose. So we obviously got to cups to the rose. All right. So we got that out of the way. And then because what I'm going to say really relates to what Nick Dawson, who super chatted us, said, it's weird to me that Ayton is back in Phoenix. Seems like they didn't even want to resign him. So that's Nick's super chat. Here's the thing. I believe they had every intention of re-signing him. What they wanted to do was set the market. And right before we came on, I was listening to a friend of the show, Sarah Spain, who was saying, well, they overpaid him, but it's okay to overpay to keep that championship window open. I don't believe they overpaid him. I believe if they would have given in and just said, here's the max that we could give you, which is whatever that was, an extra year and I don't know how many $1 million. So let's call it 170, 190, whatever it was. That's overpaying him. Yes. What they did was, hey, we want you, but we need to be financially responsible. So if you feel you can get more out there, go do it. Now, what people will say is, well, he couldn't get more because Indiana signed him to the max offer sheet that they could offer. However, teams could have said, hey, let's do a sign and trade. Yeah, we'll give up a draft pick or two, but we'll give you the max 5-year 190, whatever that Phoenix can give you. You're worth that to us. Nobody did that. Nobody did that. The best offer he could get, which isn't a bad offer, was, what is it, 4 years, 130 or 133, excuse me, from the Pacers. And Phoenix said, hey, go out there and find it. That will set your market. And okay, here we go. I've never been big on Ayton. One, because like you said, if he's not getting his touches, he seems a little disinterested. I don't like that. When he does get his touches, now this might be a whole team thing that they need to figure out. They don't necessarily win games when he gets what he wants. Right. So they're kind of stuck in this catch-22 where, well, if we don't get him his touches, he doesn't play to his full potential. When we do get him his touches, it feels like everybody else doesn't jive as well, and we lose. They're stuck. So I think they did the right thing by letting him shot, bring it now. Now they got to figure out that morale. They got to kind of get the team back together. Because here's the thing that nobody's talking about. And it's I guess now it doesn't matter. But if they allow Ayton to leave for nothing, so if they don't match Indiana's offer sheet, you mentioned Kyrie Irving leaving Boston for nothing, right? And how that affected Danny Ainge and the Celtics. So if he leaves for nothing, you now have Chris Paul, who's older. He's not your 5-year plan, making a lot of money, and Booker. Well, Phoenix isn't that kind of team that typically will keep unless there's a championship window there. Now, do they trade? Now, are they starting to look to trade Paul? Are they retooling around Booker? Do they just blow the whole thing up? That one piece of him walking changes the whole dynamic. As much as I like Bismack Biyombo, he can't be your starting 5 on a championship team. Well, now it's, hey, maybe Chris Paul has to get shipped. Well, if Chris Paul is shipped, does Booker want to be there? No, he probably starts saying, I want out, maybe. And now we're having a whole new dynamic. So they had to match it. But I think, to your point, they saved themselves 50, 40, whatever it is, $1 million in the long run. So good for them. And let's be honest, that's probably the best fit for him. They may have also, and sorry that I'm rambling, they may have also been looking around, now maybe they had thoughts on, maybe we can bring in Gobert instead of Ayton. Let Ayton walk and bring in Gobert. Well, that didn't work. Maybe there's, okay, there's nothing. Could we get KD? That deal didn't come together. Right. Okay, well, if we can't get AD, we can't get Gobert, we can't get anybody else that we think is a better fit. Okay, that's our pretty good backup plan. Let's just re-sign Ayton. And now the thing is, now Phoenix, I don't know if we're going to talk about this, Haley, so I apologize if I'm jumping the gun. Now Phoenix is pretty much out of the KD sweepstakes because they can't trade Ayton without his permission. Sorry, with his permission, the earliest they can trade him is January 15th.
Correct.
So if KD wants out now, the Suns aren't the place.
And they're over the cap anyway, regardless whether or not they're going to be over.
Yeah, they're in the luxury. They're in the luxury.
They're in the luxury tax anyway. Add that to the fact that when you're a restricted free agent, I think the leverage for the team is so much better because now we don't have to outbid ourselves. We already know we already know how far we're prepared to go. So if you could get a better deal than we're prepared to go, then more power to you. absolutely do that. So when I'm looking at DeAndre Ayton and I'm looking at what he brings to them, we can't just let him walk out the front door, Tone. We got a 23-year-old that's 17-10, that's 23 years old, and he's getting better. So I don't think this is his ceiling. And I've said this in the past, and I stand on it. LeBron James wrote the blueprint on what not to do as an organization when your star player will not re-up in a contract year. He already wrote the blueprint on what not to do, because we get into a contract year and your star player says, I'm not sure if I want to resign. We got to move him. And the reason why we got to move him, because you will get left holding the bag. And it could very well, as a GM, cost you your job. Absolutely.
Is there a scenario that you can think of where a player did not sign an extension, made it public that they wanted to leave, or you made it public you didn't want to resign them, and then they stayed and it worked out?
I can't think of any.
No.
Right. So unless you're signing that extension, I hate to say it, I'm looking to trade you at the previous year trade deadline. Right. If I can't sign you by then I gotta get something. I have to get something.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Tone, because bringing up LeBron James, and I don't want to get too much on this, but what do you think the going rate on LeBron James is in 2009, 2010? What can we get?
Let me tell you this. Let me tell you, if the Lakers aren't like 20 games over 500 come trade deadline, I'm gonna take as much as I can. I know that I'll get a bunch for him. I'll take as much as I can get, because unless they're looking like championship contenders.
Yeah. Go ahead, Haley. I'm sorry.
Well, I just wanted to address Dorian. We'll get to your super chat, I promise. Once we kind of finish up this topic. I guess moving forward, Jay, where can we see this going? Is this a definite thing? Ayton isn't happy there. And is there something that we can do to kind of bring him back? Is money going to help that? Or is the fluidity of the whole team? The Suns championship window is very small, maybe a year, maybe two. So if Ayton does stay and it's rocky, this relationship is rocky, what can we expect from them?
Well, I've always thought that this thing could be fixed very simply. Pay him. It could be fixed that simply. Just pay him. Now, I can appreciate. Is the
relationship too broken though at this
point?
Well,
if the relationship was that broken, then I think that his representatives would have made sure that this went the other way. But with that being said, he was in a position.
He's restricted. They can't.
He is restricted.
They could just match just out of spite.
I don't think, they're not going to do that out of spite. I don't think Phoenix is that kind of organization that would do that out of spite, because if DeAndre Ayton was 12 points and 6 rebounds and some team offered him a boatload of money, they would have said, we'll just let him walk. He's 17-10 and 23 years old. We can't just let him walk out the front door. Absolutely not. We're going to have to pay him. Now, I think that this relationship, because of how good they are, they were in the NBA Finals just 2 years ago. Last year, they fell apart. But I think bringing this group back, and I think getting things back together, I think that this group could be viable, and I think that they could be right back at the top of the Western Conference. And it's amazing how money can fix a lot of problems. And this is one of those problems where I think that just paying him and involving him more in what they're doing and doing a better job coaching him, I think this thing could be fixed. Absolutely.
You saved it at the end, and I'll tell you what I mean. First of all, money can't buy you love. Money cannot buy you love. However, you got it right at the end, involving him. And that's where Monty and Chris Paul are going to have to come together. Monty Williams is going to say something to this extent. Hey man, you understand management, GMs, the owners, it's a money thing. It's a business. We want you on the team. We're better with you on the team. He's going to give him some kind of rah-rah speech about how important he is to the team, right? You'll see in our sets that I think we need to get you more involved. We need to find it. Like, he's going to have that type of conversation with him. Then he's going to tell Chris Paul, you're our coach on the floor. Your job, hey, make sure don't force it. Don't cost us games for this, but make sure we get him involved early, because then he plays better defense when we get him involved early. And Chris Paul is a smart enough player, one of the highest, if not the highest basketball IQs ever, right? To be like, hey, I understand this guy's, he was also, I think, was he the vice president of the players union? So he also understands the president of the players union. So he also understands the contracts and all that stuff. He's going to understand, okay, I need to keep my big man happy, right? Because you need that guy to be successful. So what's he going to do? He's going to talk to Book. He's going to talk to those guys. He's like, hey, forget Matt. It's almost going to be, you know, sometimes it's us against the world, where the team versus all the naysayers. In this case, trust me, we've done this before. Hey, us against management. They weren't sure that the three of us could win it. Let's go show them. Let's force their hand. And they could, this actually, if played right, if wrong, blow it up. If they play it right, this could actually bring the players and coach closer together. So there's an opportunity. There's an opportunity.
And to add to your point really quick, Haley, is now that we've gotten that out the way, let's get to work now.
Get to ball. Yeah.
Everybody's been paid. So, okay, now let's get to work. Now we can, all the nonsense about you and I and the team dynamic, now we've gotten everybody paid. Let's get to work.
I'm going to go out on a limb, and maybe it's just being a fan on the West Coast. I think this is going to shake things up. I don't think that relationship can be repaired. And honestly, it can go one of two ways, and or one of many ways, honestly. But we will see what happens with Ayton, and you know, keep up to date with that. Is there any, Jay? Are there any final things I guess we should keep looking out for? Is Ayton for sure gonna stay with Phoenix at this point?
Tone knows how I feel about the big guy. I'm a big guy fan. Now, don't get me wrong, I dig wing players, but the best players that have ever played are big guys. And when you get a big guy like Deandre Ayton, 17 and 10, 23 years old, who can get better and get better, you do not just let him walk out the front door. You figure it out with this guy, because the last thing you want to see is this dude go somewhere else and he's 24 and 12 and he's an all-star and an all-NBA performer. That's the last thing that I want to see. We have to maximize everything that we can possibly get out of this dude. So and Phoenix hasn't been great in terms of management over the course of the years, but in this particular situation, I think that they're starting to figure it out.
Okay. They know what they have. Keep it at all costs.
Hold on to this dude.
Yeah, you have to.
Hold on to him.
Absolutely. And really quick, I saw this just earlier today. It said it's basically the projections for who will be top seeds next season. And I thought this was interesting. You know, Fluent, I want to get your take, and then we'll hit that super chat. But at the top seed, we have the Celtics projected as the NBA champs, okay? Because they just got Brogdon, you know, they're upgrading their bench. And then we have the Warriors at 2, the reigning champions at number 2. And then we have the Suns, and this is today with everything going on. So I think many people are expecting, you know, Ayton to stay with the Suns. I think obviously there's a chain of people behind the scenes that already kind of know what's going on. So maybe they had an understanding that Ayton, they would offer that max deal. So how do you see those 3 seeds? Do you agree with Celtics, Warriors, Suns? And is there any shifting that you would do on that list?
The Suns aren't there.
I know it's so early, but
no, it's way too early. But the Suns aren't there for me.
Oh, why do you hate the Suns, man?
I don't hate. Hold on. I don't hate the Suns. Hear me out. I don't have a problem with the Suns.
I'm listening.
But I'm not having them 3. Hold on. Okay, I agree. Now, no order. But here are the teams I think are ahead of the Suns today: the Celtics, the Warriors, the Bucks, and here's the iffy one. It's, you know, a healthy Clipper team. I think those 4 teams, the 3 first ones, I think are easy. The Clippers on paper, if healthy, right? And then maybe so I got Suns. I'm not disrespecting them. I think 4, 5, maybe 6 for the, like, I think that's where they belong. I don't think they're at the level of where the Celtics, the Warriors, and the Bucks are. But Bucks healthy probably win it this year. Like I shouldn't say. Listen, they didn't. The Celtics did, or made it to the finals. But I still think the Bucks are that team. I think they just suffered, you know, too many injuries and that sort of thing. So I still have those 3 teams over the Suns. Right. And maybe the Clippers, but the Clippers are the Clippers, right? So I hate even saying the words, because it's the Clippers. We know what we're gonna get. Something's gonna go wrong.
I just didn't have the Suns imploding like they did against Dallas. I had them in the finals. I had them getting past the Warriors. I didn't like that matchup with the Warriors. I thought they were too big. I thought they were too athletic for the Warriors, and I thought that they would get past them. And the fact that they imploded the way they did was a complete shock to me on one end, as opposed to who Chris Paul is and him reintroducing himself to me like he's done in the past. So, but I'm going to get back on that Phoenix train. I am going to do that because I like this team. I like the wing defenders that they have. I'm a big fan of DeAndre Ayton. I just am. Yeah. And I think that this train's going to get back on the track next season. I do.
Okay. Now we'll move on to the super chat really quick before we keep going. But we had a question from Dorian Clayton. Thank you for the super chat. Fluent, who do you think is the greatest WWE in-ring performer?
In-ring performer. Wow, that's okay. I got to give you
oddly specific.
That's very specific, but I'm going to give you multiple answers.
Okay.
In-ring performer, so just like you watch them and you're like you just, you know, you're glued to your screen. I got Shawn Michaels just being the greatest, and I hated Shawn Michaels, but he was probably the best in-ring performer, right? Mr. WrestleMania. You watched he was a high flyer, but he also was he was just so much fun to watch. So I go Shawn Michaels. Owen Hart is underrated. Unfortunately, I was watching the pay-per-view the day that he left this earth, but he was incredible. Now, if the question is performer in terms of technical wrestling, then I'm like Bret Hart, Dean Malenko. My favorite wrestlers of all time, I haven't talked wrestling in a long time. And listen, on the mic is probably The Rock and Stone Cold. There's others on the mic, but it was in the ring. My favorite wrestlers of all time, Macho Man Randy Savage, Randy Orton. Those are everybody hates them. Those are the guys I love. So that's probably the best way that I can answer that question. You know, when we talk about football, when we talk about basketball, remember on Tuesday, I told you I'd pay to see Ja?
Yeah.
Right? I pay to see HBK. I pay to see just a sexy boy, sexy boy. Like I the Heartbreak Kid, but man, that me and now I know we got this. They used to do this. I think DX used to do it, but also NWO. Me and my kids do this. We got in trouble because this is apparently a bad sign in some places of the world. It means like the evil eye. But me and my kids, so the Click did it, the NWO did it. We would go too sweet, and me and my kids still do that to this day. So yes. Sorry, we got way off onto another.
Wait,
here come the names.
Before we go on, I have a question for you guys because different generations. But Logan and Jake Paul. Okay, I grew up watching them like in the YouTube era and all that they do. How do you feel about Jay? I don't know if you've watched any of the fights recent or not. How do you feel about them?
Well, the one thing that I found out about watching Logan was Jake Paul, watching him get dropped, there's a difference between an amateur and a professional. When you get in the ring with a professional, it is very clear who the professional is, who the amateur is. And he's obviously an amateur. He might look good against some other amateurs, but no, he got dropped by a professional. So there was no reason for him to be in that ring. Now, I'm not that fluent in wrestling. I used to be a big wrestling fan, but I'm not anymore. But
yeah, you can only ask me about like the past. I'm not as up to speed on the new stuff to be like.
If I said I was, I'm not.
Yeah. Now the good thing is there's a lot of the same names that are still around.
Right.
Well, yeah, I think they're getting into like boxing and MMA, which is interesting. That's what I grew up doing. So I always love hearing people's takes because it's very differing. Okay, we're going to
add a beer, add another beer. Add another beer. All right, sorry.
Okay, we're actually going to get into NFL content today, I promise, for once. But I'm going to do this. We have ranking the NBA's best superstar duos, current superstar, or I guess heading into next season. Okay, so I'm going to read them off to you both. And let me know if there's any that feel like they don't fit in this realm. Okay, so we have, up first we have number 1 is Giannis and Drew. Number 2 is Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. 3 is KD and Kyrie. 4 is Joel and Harden. And 5 is Kawhi and PG. Okay. How do we feel about those duos and that ranking? Are there any changes that you would make, Fluent?
That's in order?
That was in order.
That was in order.
That's what I think it was Bleacher Report.
So Giannis and Drew at 1.
Then we got
Jokic and Murray at 2, KD, Kyrie at 3, Joel and Harden at 4, Kawhi and Leonard. So I guess we're assuming they're all healthy, because
I guess so.
We haven't seen Kawhi and George together enough.
No.
James Harden is a shell of his former self. So no, I don't even think those should even be in the top 5. Durant and Kyrie, what did they play? 7 games together last year? Like, I don't know. Skill wise, they should be number 1 if we're talking, because we actually haven't seen them play. Jamal Murray didn't play at all last year. So, okay, I guess Giannis and Drew are together, what? Because they just played the most games together? I feel like there's better. Is there not better?
Yeah, well, Adam Jones just pointed out, if this is healthy, obviously assuming AD and Bron are 1 when they're healthy.
That's exactly where I was going to go. If we're just assuming everybody's healthy, then how is AD and Bron not there? Right. They're both top 5, top 10 at least.
Correct.
But both, probably top 5 if they're healthy.
Oh yeah.
Where's AD and Bron? So it's funny. I don't even think Giannis and Drew should be there, and they're number 1.
It's just a weird duo, because I don't even think
Giannis and LeBron look, I think Giannis has surpassed him at this point, but Giannis and Bron are close, right? Mm-hmm. Is AD and Drew close?
No.
When healthy?
No.
It's not even close.
Really strange comparison.
It's not even close.
So
I don't know what they're trying to do here, other than get us to talk about it.
If we're going from the bottom of the list, at what is it, 5 of them? So 4 of them. At the bottom of the list, it's James Harden and Embiid, because number 1, they weren't together that long, so we weren't able to see the chemistry materialize. Okay. So that's number 1. I think they're at the bottom of the list. I think Giannis and Drew, and it's simply because they're not a duo. The duo was built around Giannis and Middleton.
Right?
Yeah, so they added Holiday. Sure. He was the missing piece. So I think those 2 are next. So I think that they're 3. I think number 2, actually, I got 1, 2. I think KD and Irv. I think those 2 are behind. They're behind Giannis and Holiday. And the reason why they're behind Giannis and Holiday is because they've underperformed the most out of any of these guys. That includes Leonard and Paul George. They've underperformed the most. That even though Leonard and Paul George had a 3-1 lead in the bubble and they lost it, those 2, they also were in the Western Conference. They were on their way to the Western Conference Championship before Leonard got hurt. Same thing happened with Kyrie Irving, whose numbers go down significantly in the playoffs in these last 3 tries. He goes from 27-6 in the regular season down to 20-5. So I think that I think those 2 are behind.
I will not stand for this Kevin Durant hate. Jay, put some respect on that man's name.
I'm going off what I've seen with these guys. So Harden and Embiid are at the bottom. I think KD and Irv are next to them. I think Holiday and Giannis. Then I think Leonard and Paul George.
What about Jokic and Murray?
They're at the top. Wow. And the reason why I got them at the top, they went to the Western Conference Championship. They were in the Western Conference Championship, and they just ran into a buzzsaw with that Laker team. But other than that, they're at the top of the list.
How about that you had Harden, Irv, and KD for 5 seconds on the same team?
On the same team.
And now they're two different duos.
Yeah.
It's just I get it. But this is the clickbaitiest thing I've ever seen in my life, because you've literally haven't seen enough of any of these guys except for Giannis and Drew together to really.
I guess it's been projected. What?
Yeah, project. But again, if I'm projecting, I'm putting Bron and AD up there.
We're just going.
Okay. From these 5. Okay, from these
it's
5.
It's true though. Why were they not a duo? That bothers me. It's strange.
Yeah. Okay. So
what are they doing here?
So if we're projecting, then we're having to use kind of talent. And from that perspective, you're probably having Harden and Embiid, because of where Harden is now in his career, at 5. Jokic and Murray, 4. Kawhi and Paul, and then Giannis and Drew at 3. And then Irv and Durant at 2, and I got Kawhi and Paul George at 1. Yeah. Kawhi and George are the only 2 ones. Again, we're assuming they're all healthy and what they're going to do. Kawhi and Paul George are the only duo here that are. I want to double check this. I'm going to say it, and then I'll probably have to reverse if I say this wrong. But from a standpoint of offensively, they both can get you buckets.
Mm-hmm.
They both are, they both can defend. So they're both two-way players who can get you buckets. Mm-hmm. And when I look at the other guys, right, Durant's not a great defender, not in the same category as George, and definitely not Kawhi. Right. James Harden is not a defender. Jamal Murray isn't a defender. Right. Giannis can't shoot to the level of George and Paul. So that's why I'm saying if I'm looking at with very limited time here, I'd probably go Kawhi and George, again, assuming they're 100% and healthy, which is a big assumption.
And again, I got Leonard and Paul George, Jokic and Murray at the top of the list simply because they went the furthest.
Yeah.
Giannis and Holiday are not a duo. As a duo, they did not go far. They lost in the conference semifinals. I care about how far you go as a duo. I look at, because you already know how I feel about production. You as a player and what you produce are not mutually exclusive. Those two things matter. Those two things go together. So because of that, when I see Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant get smoked, they were the only team in the playoffs that got swept out of the playoffs this year, by the way. No other team got swept out of the playoffs except them. Nobody. So and like I said, James Harden and Embiid, they weren't together long enough. They just got together this season. So those two teams are at the bottom. Those two guys are at the bottom.
Now, if you said best defensive duo, Giannis and Drew. Giannis and Drew.
Oh yeah.
Whoa,
Paul George and Kawhi though.
And then Paul and Kawhi too.
Are we sure that those two are 1 and 2? I mean, are we sure Paul and Kawhi are 2? Are we sure of that? Because the reason why I'm saying it, here's why I'm saying this, Tone. I look at. I'm gonna have to backtrack this because I think Drew Holiday is the best perimeter defender.
I know that. When you said it, I was. But the problem is when I say overall, you add in offense. Well, you got a guy who can't shoot and a guy who won't shoot.
Well, now that I'm thinking about it, I got to come off of that stance because I think Giannis is the best defensive player in the game, and I think Drew Holiday is the best perimeter defender in the game. Leonard, when he's healthy, is arguably the best perimeter defender in the game. And Paul George is still one of the better perimeter defenders in the game. But now that I think about it, I got to come off that stance. Absolutely. Drew and Giannis are at the top of that list defensively. No question about it. I'm not going to talk myself into a hole. So let me.
That's
why I say.
You want to think through it, though.
When you throw the stuff at us, that's what I'm like. I got to work through it because I want to make sure that I'm not missing anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Baller King, we do read the chat. And if you want to get our attention a little bit easier, because we sometimes can't reach them all, just hit us with a super chat, and we will be sure to get to it. Yep. But let's see. I think excited to see. Sorry, I'm just reading through those. But yeah, before we shift gears to the NFL, because we're going to do that, one quick. I just want like a 1-sentence summary, Jay, from you. There is a rumor going about KD going back to the Warriors. 1 to 2 sentence summary of if that's going to happen or will it not? No chance.
I don't think that he wants. I don't think they want anything to do with him. I don't. I think it's smoke.
Okay. Fluent, you agree?
If I had one thing to say for the Warriors, if they get a call from KD's agent, I would say don't go down there.
I agree.
There's nothing positive that comes out of what you're going to have to give up to get KD
everything
back. Right? Short term,
pretty much
I get
everything.
it. Yeah, short term, I get it. Hey, Curry, Dre, Clay, KD. Yeah, they're probably in line to win another chip. But you're going to have to give up Poole, Kuminga, Wiseman, probably something else. 4 or 5 draft picks, so it's just you're giving up. Yeah, you're giving up your future.
I'm not interested in any of that, Tone. I'm not.
And they just came and they just want to chip. They just want to chip without him.
That's what you just heard. That's me hanging the phone up. That's what that is.
Yeah.
You just heard me hanging the phone up. Bye.
100%. Yeah. Bye. Okay. NFL. Let's get into this real quick. Just to get back into the swing of things. Fluent. Who are the top 4 quarterbacks you see heading into the 22-23 season? Just off the top of your head. They don't have to be the best, but most excited for, I guess.
Most exciting or top 4? Because that's a whole different question. Because like the
Top
most
4,
exciting, the ones I'm most excited to watch this season are going to be Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burr, Justin Herbert, Josh Allen. Those are probably the 4 that I'm going to watch.
Okay.
That's not necessarily my top 4, but those are the 4 most exciting that I'm looking forward to seeing.
No, start there. And Jay, how about you? Most excited to see?
I'm excited to see Justin Herbert. I'm excited to see Joe Burrow. I'm excited to see Danny Dimes this year, Tone. I am. I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to see Danny Dimes because I heard the Giants
losing football.
I heard the Giants management tell me clearly we've done everything we can to screw this kid up, which means that we're trying to get this kid together now. We've already screwed him up. Let's see if we could get him back together. And we could put some pieces around, and they're going to get Barkley back. I'm really interested to see. I'm really excited to see how he turns out. I am really excited to see how he turns out. So
can I remind you of something? Haley, you weren't around last year. But there was a gentleman that co-hosted a show called Fluent and Chill with me, and he had the Giants making the playoffs last year, and he was super high on him. And I said, "You're nuts." How'd that work out for you, Jay? You're gonna go down that road again?
Tone, don't tell some of the story. Tell the entire story, Tone. Like you left out some things. You left out something. You left out the fact that we didn't know that Saquon Barkley was going to turn his ankle running back to the huddle.
No.
Man, what has Saquon Barkley done since his rookie year?
Oh my God!
Well, I know not enough for the hype.
He's their best offensive player.
That's the problem.
He's their best offensive player who turned his ankle on his way back to the huddle, and he was out for the season. Are we kidding me? Right?
Yeah.
Listen, I'm a big fan of Coach McGahee. For those that don't know, Trent McGahee is a friend of ours. He comes to the Gridiron. Like he goes to the University of Houston. He's there as a wide receiver. I hooked him up with my state representative friend of mine. Like I'm big on the McGahees, and Coach McGahee's the special teams coach for the Giants. And we've talked to him, and I talked to him on we DM every once in a while. Mm-hmm. I want the Giants to succeed. I just don't think they're going to do it with Daniel Jones. I just don't think they're going to do it.
I see his delivery. I see his mechanics, and he just looks the part. The problem is that he hasn't been able to put it together. So I'm excited to see this season. And Tone, so be clear, can you tell the people in the audience, since I had the Giants in the playoffs, and how did I feel about Cincinnati last year before the season started?
Oh, yeah, yes, you had the Bengals.
I just want to make sure we clear.
Deep playoff run. Wow. He had to convince me that the Bengals would have a deep playoff run.
He was ready to come through the screen on me, Haley. I want to let you know that he was ready to choke me out. Cincinnati, what? Are you kidding?
One bad take balances the one great take. So
they were 4-12. Who thinks they go from 4-12 to the Super Bowl? Like, come on.
No.
I didn't think they were going to the bowl game.
Trent,
no, I did not think they were going to the bowl game. No way did I think they were going to the bowl game, but I thought they were going to be.
You said deep playoff run. You did say deep. You can't go any deeper than that.
Yeah.
No. I thought they were going to be a lot better. So to answer your question, Haley, Joe Burrow, I'm excited to see him. I'm excited to see to be honest with you, I'm a Justin Herbert stan. Even though I believe 49 are red, I'm a Justin Herbert stan. I think that every time I watch him, that's Dan Marino. He looks like a more athletic version of Dan Marino.
Didn't you have the Chargers winning the AFC West last year?
I did have them winning the AFC.
You're a year early.
Yeah.
You're like me on the Celtics.
They're on the up and up.
I said the Celtics would be in the finals this upcoming year. They did it a year early. He said the Chargers. He was a year late.
I had them going deep in the playoffs. So Herbert, Burrow. I'm excited to see Daniel Jones this season, and I'm excited to see my 49ers. To be honest with you, I want to see what Trey Lance does. I don't think he's ready, but
we just got a chat. There's in the chat. Someone's asking, what are your thoughts on Trey Lance?
I want to see what he looks like, and he's going to get reps. That's why I ain't ready to give up Jimmy G, but we'll get into that.
Yeah. And just to hit you back, Nick Dawson, to Jay, he said Danny Dimes and throw up. Not a big fan.
Not a super chat. That's serious. Danny Dimes. I'm with Nick. Nick is a very smart dude, so I am with Nick on that one. Sometimes when he agrees with me.
Okay, but yes, let's get into the Niners. So Debo, there's been a lot of news about Debo. As I don't know, as looking into the Niners' future, they need Debo. Debo is an essential piece for them to get further than they did last season. So what do you think? I mean, there's trade rumors about Debo going to the Cowboys, at least whispers of that as a possibility. But Jay, do you think he would even consider that? That? Is he going to stay? And then give us your take on Trey as well.
Well, here's the thing, Haley. You being a part of the show, or me being a part of the show, Tone being a part of the show. So now what we do with you, Haley, is the stuff that we ask you to do for the show. Now we're going to ask you to also produce the show. We want you to get the lighting in the rooms. In addition to getting the lighting in the room, we want you to take all the chats down, right? We want you to take all the chats down. So all of this stuff we need for you to do, in addition to what you already do. Well, Debo is like, wait a minute, I'm a wide out. Now you want me to run the football. You want to put me in the slot. All of this extracurricular stuff is going to take years off my career because I take a lot of pounding. I would like to I'm the best when I'm on the edge. That's when I am at my best, when I'm on the edge. I'm really good in the slot, but I'm at my best when I'm on the edge. Now you got me running the football. You got me playing in cross patterns, and you got me in the backfield and shifting. And well, wait a minute, this is a lot of extracurricular stuff that I don't think that I need to be involved in because I don't want to take any more years off my career. Now, I'm not ready to move off of Jimmy G just yet. And the reason why I'm not ready to move off of Jimmy G just yet, because I don't think Trey Lance is ready. But Jimmy G is notorious for getting hurt, which means that Trey Lance is going to get reps. And he's going to get the necessary reps that he needs, as opposed to just throwing him to the wolves and going, yo, figure it out. Well, that would work if he was in Houston. That would work if he was on a lesser team. He's on a team that's a contender. And being on a team that's a contender, the margin of error is a lot smaller. So I'm not ready to move off of Jimmy G just yet. I like Trey Lance playing behind him and learning. I think he could stand to hold the clipboard for another year and get reps.
Yeah, I like that they throw in those packages for Trey Lance. Debo can't go anywhere. If Debo leaves the 49ers, he does too much. He's too important to that team.
He's on offense, Tone. He's on entire offense.
They need to figure out a way to make him happy. I get it. He wants to be a wideout. They need him to be a running back. They've had a lot of injuries over the last few years at running back, so they need him to be at running back. He's at his best when he's that multiple threat kind of guy anyways. So they got to figure out a way to make him happy and do that. At the same time, they still got to develop Trey Lance. And I think Jimmy G for the short term still gives them their best chance of winning. Like if they trade Jimmy G, like there's some people out there saying, no, Jimmy G is going to be a Seahawk to start the season. I'd be really nervous about the Niners, how they start the season.
Yeah, I
think by mid-season, Trey Lance might be ready. I don't think he's ready. Now, obviously, it all depends on Jimmy G. He had, I think, shoulder surgery. So depending on how healthy he is and all that, there's so many things that go into it. But yeah, that gives them their best chance of winning is start Jimmy G, have those packages for Trey Lance to get him used to NFL speed. Yes, one more year of that, and get Debo happy, right? Does that mean, hey, we promise we won't have you running the ball more than 10 times a game, 7 times a game? I don't know. We're going to get you the ball where you want it to be in space as a wideout. Sure. So they need to, much like Ayton in Phoenix, they need to kind of, because he was upset, right, of how he was used over the offseason and money and all that stuff like most. And so now it's like, hey, how can we now bring that back in and make it right? So both of those teams, different sport, have similar jobs to do between now and the start of the season.
And I also think that looking at the 49ers defense, I think that our defense has been shored up. I think the fact that with Warner, one of our best pass rushers, I think we're going to be fine there. I think that the problem that we have in right now is just staying consistent offensively. If we can stay consistent offensively, like I said, I think Debo, if he was going to get traded, Tone, you being a football guy, you can absolutely appreciate this. If he was going to get traded, I think he would have got moved already.
Oh yeah, he'd be gone already. I think
that he would have already been gone. I think that they've put together different offensive packages because now we got a new offensive coordinator coming in because now the old offensive coordinator is now the head coach with the Miami Dolphins. So I think they're putting in different packages now to get Debo involved the way he wants to get involved, as opposed to just know what we're going to do? We're going to put you on the box. We're going to have you in transition. If this is basketball, we're going to put you on the box. We're going to have you in transition. We're going to have you shooting the long ball. We're going to have you in one-on-ones. Like, whoa. I'm not the only one out here, okay?
And I don't blame him. I don't blame him. The shelf life of a running back is not long. No one wants to be, no one wants to do that.
Right. So,
and by that last game, that final game where he's limping out. Everyone was broken and battered, but that man, he put so much on the line. Like, they owe him that much.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I'm looking forward to the 49ers this season. I think we're gonna be good.
Yeah, I'm nervous, but I agree with you. I think that we need to keep Jimmy as long as we can. One more season, see how it plays out, and then kind of integrate Trey a bit. Fluent. We've already talked about Deshaun, kind of our take on all of that, but now we have the Baker Mayfield drama going on.
Did you say Deshaun Watson?
Yeah, I did.
I gotta tell you, I got quick little thing because I sent it to the Gridiron chat, and you guys don't know. So I was out for dinner. It's a friend's birthday. Took her out for dinner, and they come with a dessert menu because I can't skip a dessert. and the top of the menu says happy endings. So I sent the dessert menu to the group chat, and I said, hey, I met Deshaun Watson's restaurant.
There we go. You knew this was
but anyways, yes,
you knew this was coming.
Yeah.
You knew, Haley. I gotta put up this one. I gotta deal with on the regular, okay? Just so you know, this is.
I set him up for this one.
I gotta deal with this on the regular with this dude, right? So, absolutely.
I knew what I was walking into.
I'm very interested to hear this take, and I want it to start with Butterbean. That's who I wanted to start.
Sorry, what's the question?
Well, more so just thoughts. Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold. Maybe I'm mistaken. You guys fill me in on this one. My knowledge of this is still growing. But if I'm right, the Browns are paying Deshaun, correct, for not playing. He's being paid.
It's only $1 million in year one, so it's not. It's not. Yeah, it's only $1 million.
So partially being paid. Okay, and then what about Baker? Is he still being paid? By the
I believe they're paying part of his salary. That's the only way anyone would pay him. Yes.
$10.5 million.
So they're paying two. They're paying
two players that are not playing for them. Essentially,
typical Browns. They're paying two quarterbacks not to play for them, which is not unlikely. Listen, I'm friends with Coach Jackson. They're paying him and I think two other coaches not to coach for them. So that's typical Browns.
Of course,
stuff.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, with this whole thing going on, I know there's, I guess, controversy of whether Baker's going to start or Darnold, how that will work out. How many games do you see each of them playing, and who is going to start next season for the Panthers?
All right. So here's the thing. I have no idea what Matt Rule is thinking or the Panthers are thinking bringing in Baker, because here's the thing. Who's thrown the most interceptions over the last few years in the NFL?
Sam Darnold.
Who's number 2?
Baker Mayfield.
Why the hell would you bring that into the same room with you have a rookie like Matt Golden Corral, who's probably going to be your starter by midseason? It just didn't make sense.
No sense.
I would have gotten rid of Darnold and brought in some veteran, be like, hey, we need a gap quarterback to, bring him along, whoever that would. Get Nick Foles. Say, hey, Nick, we're going to have you start the season as our starter. We want you to mentor the young kid. Because at least we know Nick Foles knows he's not a starter, but we know he's a good, capable, backup. And he seems like a guy that would take someone under his wing and take that mentor role. Like, there's quarterbacks out there that do that. To bring in two guys that think they're going to be starters with a rookie who probably and should think he's deserving of being a starter, that QB room is going to be a mess. I don't see how it works. And you got the two guys who are the most turnover prone, other than, maybe Jameis Winston in New Orleans. But so, like, what are you doing? It didn't make sense to me. I didn't understand. Unless you're getting rid of Darnold, I don't see the three of them being there. And Baker Mayfield, is he healthy? Can he get the ball? We already know Robbie Anderson, like Baker Mayfield. No, we know his response. Now he backpedaled from that because you know, what's he supposed to do? Because now he's just quarterback. But he quickly was like, to back it up.
Yeah.
But we know he doesn't want to be there. So do we trust Baker Mayfield to make the right read and get those guys involved? Well, he couldn't do it with Jarvis Landry and OBJ. He made OBJ look like he was washed up. Then he goes to the Rams and, oh, maybe he's not washed up. That's on Baker. And that was before the injuries. So I don't see how Baker Mayfield helps this team get better. I only think it makes it worse. And it's not like he's like a nice, quiet guy who minds his business. He's outspoken and out there and wants to do commercials and be the center of attention. That's not what this team needs right now. So yeah, I think it was a terrible trade, even if they got him for nothing. I don't see how it makes the team better.
With that being said, Tone, remember now, Cleveland hadn't been in the playoffs in 18 years before they got Baker. They're in the playoffs, all right? So the year before...
That's like saying Jordan never got out of the first round without Pippen. You know that there's more to it. They got Myles Garrett. They had Jarvis Landry. They had Nick Chubb. They have it's the team that got them to the playoffs. It wasn't Baker that got them to the playoffs.
Don't forget, Tone, that he did get better each season, where he ended up setting a record for touchdowns as a rookie. And then he goes 11-5. And then last year, he hurts his shoulder, because if he doesn't hurt his shoulder, they're still on their way to making the playoffs. The thing with him and OBJ, it just didn't work. All right, that doesn't mean that OBJ was whack. It doesn't mean that Baker Mayfield was whack, because his completion percentage was going up. Now, it didn't go up last year because he screwed up his shoulder. Now, which also is a nut narrative. Why is it a nut narrative? Because had he played better and they go, instead of, because they went 11-5 the year before, so instead of going 8-9, I don't know, they go 11-5 again, or 11-6 and make the playoffs. Baker gutted it out. Baker was so tough. He was awesome. But instead, they don't make the playoffs, and he is trash. According to you, Tone, he is trash. Now, him going to Carolina, I've said this when Sam Darnold came out of college. I always thought Sam Darnold was a turnover machine. That was no question in my mind. I thought that he was that. And him going to the Jets was the worst situation that he could have possibly been in, simply because they didn't have anything to develop him. They're going to screw him up. And it just got worse as he got there. So with him and Baker Mayfield and this quarterback, quote unquote, controversy, I don't think it's going to be a controversy. I think Baker Mayfield wins that job.
Okay.
I was watching Colin Cowherd, and he said, and he gave some numbers. Okay. Out of 50 qualified quarterbacks, Baker Mayfield, where he ranks. Okay. I don't know if you saw this or not. Completion percentage in his career. Okay, so since he's been in the league, 45th.
At the bottom.
There's only 32 teams in the league. TD to interception ratio, 32nd. Passing yards per game, 28th. Passer rating, 35th. So you say, well, you know, he had bad coaching in the beginning. Let's talk about when Nick Stefanski comes in. Okay. There's 44 qualified quarterbacks since Nick Stefanski has taken over. Baker Mayfield, completion percentage, 36th. There's only 32 teams. I'm going to remind you that. TD to interception, 19th. Passing yards per game, 27th. Passer rating, 27th. This guy isn't a good quarterback, and I think you're fooled by his public persona. Let's also read the report. Listen, we don't know if this one's true, but there's a report. The Browns viewed Baker Mayfield as a childish and immature, no surprise, and was often difficult to coach. Oh, yeah, let's bring him in a room with a rookie. Mayfield's behavior also annoyed his teammates and divided the locker room. That's not a guy I want leading my team. And regardless of what you say, if you disagree with what I'm about to say, the quarterback is always viewed as the leader of a team.
That's a fact. I won't fight that. I will not fight that. I do think he's better than Sam Darnold, though. I do think that.
Okay, he's better than Sam Darnold. Great. Sam Darnold stinks. Right. So what? Right. Like, I'm better than my 8-year-old son at basketball. That doesn't make me qualified to be in the NBA.
You just suck less than this dude. You just suck less.
I'll be honest. If I'm Carolina, I'm getting rid of both of them. If Matt Corral, I always say his last name wrong. I always that's why I say Matt Golden Corral. That's how I remember to say his name correctly. If he's half as good as we think he's going to be, I get rid of those other two guys and I go with the rookie. I just go because where do you think they're going? They're gonna base their team on their defense, which is good. CMC, if he's healthy, is great, and a rookie quarterback, because we're in a division where, hey, the Bucs are probably winning that division. There's question marks for the Saints. As good as I think Jameis Winston's going to be, there's still a big question mark. Atlanta's going to be horrible. And in the NFC,
trash.
There's opportunity because you got the Packers, the Rams, the Cardinals, and the Bucs. You've got 4 good teams. Everybody else is a question mark. So why not take a chance? Put the rookie in there. Get rid of all that salary because rookie deal quarterbacks, hey, that's how you build a good team with that extra money.
So. The same thing happened in Seattle with Russell Wilson. Matt Moore was the guy. Russell Wilson comes in and they go, nope, this is our guy. We're going to go with him. So if this kid...
Look at that defense that they built with that money, because once Russ gets paid, Seattle's not that good anymore.
Yeah. And in fact, he's gone. So, yeah.
Oh, now he's gone.
Yeah. Sadly. Yeah. Well, that's another. Jay, who do you think is going to start for them?
In Seattle?
Is it going to be Geno or Drew Lock?
Geno's the guy. Geno's going to be the guy. Geno is a
I like Geno.
Geno is a stopgap quarterback. He's always been a backup. He always will be a backup because he's gotten plenty of opportunity to start, and he's shown that I'm a backup, and I'm a pretty good backup. You know, I can try to shore up the ship because don't forget, before Russell Wilson got hurt, Seattle was at the top of the NFC West with the Rams, with the 49ers. When he goes down, they dropped 6 straight. So one of the guys right here, Tone, who is not gonna miss Russell Wilson in the NFC right here. He is absolutely awesome. I love his game, but I am not gonna miss him in the NFC.
How happy would have you been if once after Russ got traded to Denver, and then you remember Kyler Murray, there was issues. He didn't want to go. He was saying it was about money, but he was saying, hey, I don't want to be here anymore. If he leaves Arizona, man, then all you got to worry about is the Rams. You're good.
And I'm not really.
And I'm not even worried about the Rams.
I'm not.
You're worried about the Rams?
No, I'm not.
No,
so we had them dudes beat last year. We had them dudes beat.
Yeah.
We had them beat
3 times, right?
Are you both 49er fans?
Or 2, yes. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize you were both 49ers fans.
They've beaten us once in the last 3 years. They've beaten us one before the NFC Championship game. They beat us 1 time in the last 3 years. We own them dudes. Own them.
That was a fluke. Yeah.
All right. There you go. You would have been in really good shape then if you had nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Honestly, Packers were always, for me, the ones that gave me Packers and Seahawks have always been the ones that kind of freaked me out.
Aaron Rodgers can't beat the 49ers.
I've never tripped on Aaron Rodgers.
I know, but this season I was nervous.
You thought it was gonna be different. Okay.
I knew we would win deep down, but I don't like Aaron Rodgers, so I feel like it's always conflicting for me playing him. But they're losing people as well, so next season's gonna be great. But we are gonna wrap up just because I know JD has some things going on, so I want to let him get off with that. But Jay, who do you think who are your projected top 3 teams in both the NFC and the AFC next season?
Well, if I start in the NFC, I think that I look at the NFC East. I think that the Cowboys are a fluke. I think Philly's going to be better, right? I think that the Commanders are going to be good, but I don't think they're going to be as good as everybody thinks. I think that the Giants, the jury is still out on Danny Dimes. After this season, if I don't see something different, I'm out, Tone. I'm gonna be honest.
You really have them. You have Giants top 3.
I don't have them top 3, but what I am gonna say is that if I don't see some improvement after this season, I'm out on Danny Dimes. I'm completely out. So when I think about the NFC North, that's Tone's division. I think that Green Bay owns that division. I think the Bears are going to be whack. I think they're going to be super whack, in fact. I think Minnesota's going to be back. I think they're going to be good. Let's see. When I think about the NFC South, I think Tampa's going to be at the top of that division, even though Tom Brady is who he is, and he's going to be close to my age. He's still rolling the way he's rolling. And the NFC West, as much as people talk about the Rams, I think the 49ers are going to be back. So I'm going Niners, I'm going Packers, I'm going Tampa in the NFC East, in the NFC. In the AFC West, in the AFC, I could stay in one division. Then the best teams in the AFC are in the AFC West. I could go in the AFC East, I could go to the AFC South, I could go to the AFC North. The best teams in the AFC could very well be all 3 of these teams could be in the AFC East. AFC West, I'm sorry. But I think Cincinnati's going to be back. I think the Raiders are going to be a lot better. Cincinnati's going to be back. I think the Raiders are going to be a lot better. And I think that the Chargers are going to be a lot better. Those are my three.
Okay. I like it.
So it was top 3 teams in the NFC, top 3 teams in the AFC. Is that the question?
Yeah, just your projected top 3.
Okay, so let's eliminate the NFC least because one, the Eagles are winning that, but they're not. I'm not really worried about them. He was out. Listen, Chicago unfortunately is not going to be that good. Detroit is not. Detroit's going to be improved, but they're not going to be. You're not going to have a conversation about them being the best in the NFC, and same with Minnesota. Green Bay is going to be. Again, we're talking regular season. They're going to get their regular season win. So Green Bay is going to be up at the top of that. Tampa Bay is going to, as much as I think the Saints are my sleeper team. If Jameis Winston can keep his turnovers down, that team is scary. Bringing back Michael Thomas. They've got Jarvis Landry, Traquan Smith. They got this great receiving core. They got Alvin Kamara. They're really, really good. It's Jameis Winston. Can he control that offense? And how's Dennis Allen, right? A new coach there. So, but if I'm playing it safe, so I'm going to go Green Bay, Tampa Bay, and then I'm going to go with the Rams because they're the Super Bowl champs and they got better. They brought in Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson is the top 10 wide receiver. They have to be. So again, this is regular season. I think they're going to be fine. The AFC, I'm really nervous about the Super Bowl hangover. Even though I think the Bengals got better in the offseason, they're going to be in the conversation, but I still think the Chiefs are still going to be good, even though they lost Tyreek Hill. The Bills should be better if they can get any kind of run game, right? They added OJ Howard, they added Von Miller, they're a better team. So they're going to be up in that conversation. And then listen, I like I said about Jay's pick last year, that was a year early. I think the Chargers are a team that would scare the crap out of me. Offensively, they can score on you at will with the weapons that they have. Austin Eckler, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Justin Herbert, they're ready. And they got Bosa and Mack on defense, and others, and they've got this defense. On paper, because that's all we could talk about right now, the Chargers should be in the Super Bowl.
Secondary too, Tone. Don't leave that out.
Oh, I know. That's what there's too many names to mention. They are solid. So that team's gonna the Chargers again stay healthy. As with everybody, the ball has to bounce your way. You got to get some breaks.
Yeah.
The Chargers look really, really good.
Real quick, real quick, Tone. You just mentioned a bunch of teams that are going to be good. In your opinion, Tone, who is going to be trash this season? Who you think? Everybody thinks they're going to be good. Who do you think is going to be whack?
Of the teams that people think are going to be good?
Teams that people think are going to be good? I think the Cowboys are going to be whack.
I agree with that.
In the NFC, I think the Cowboys are going to be bad. Washington, everyone's super high on, Carson Wentz. He's not playing. I'm telling you right now, get ready for another season of Tyler Heineke. I think Washington's going to be worse than you think.
Somebody's high on them? I haven't met them.
No, yeah, there's been people.
Who's that? One person?
I think Arizona. I don't think Arizona's going to be good as people think. Ooh. And then other than that, I think the rest people in the NFC. In the AFC, everyone's got everybody being good. Well, here's the reality of it. They can't. You can't have 10 good teams because they play each other. So what are the teams that people think are going to be good? I think a team that people think are going to be good that's not Cleveland's going to be terrible. Terrible. Cleveland's not making the playoffs. They're not. Who's their quarterback? They're not. And then
garbage.
And this one's gonna surprise. Here's the clip for JD. I don't think the Broncos make the playoffs.
I was telling you.
I was thinking Denver.
I know you have a crush. I know you got a Broncos crush, Jay.
I do. I
watch out for him, Haley. He's going to leave the 49ers for the Broncos.
I've been having an affair
because of Russ.
No, he's always.
Or you just love the Broncos?
Yeah,
really?
Yeah, with the Denver Broncos for the last 20.
But I'm pretty sure the Broncos are going to be. It's my opinion.
Yeah. I love Russ. He's probably my favorite quarterback, and so it's really weird seeing him in orange, but I agree. I don't think.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing with Denver. It's they're going to be a victim of their, and this is why I said to any quarterback like Russ, I'm like, dude, what are you doing going to the AFC? You have to play the Chiefs twice. And as good as we think the Broncos are going to be improved, they're not as good as the Chiefs. They have to play the Raiders twice. No. I really like Derek Carr with Devontae Adams, Darren Waller, friend of the show. Shout out to Jay the Plug and Darren Waller. We'll talk to you soon. I'm going to forget one of my favorite running backs on the Raiders, Josh Jacobs. I like him a lot, and people are underrating him. So I think the Raiders are better than the Broncos and the Chargers. I already explained to you what I think of the Chargers. Well, that's 6 games right there. You got to play against those. Yeah. Right. So it's going to be really hard for them, even if they go 2-4, 1-5 against them, which I think is realistic. Well,
and at what age? How old is he now? Like, he's not a baby. He's not even
Tom
in the middle
Brady
of his
us don't look at age, but yeah.
That's true. But I'm just saying he's heading into a really tough game at this stage in his career. It's going to be interesting to see.
How many games is it going to take in the AFC? How many games do I need to get into the playoffs?
10.
I think 11, Tone, to be honest with you.
11? Yeah, maybe you might be right. It might be 11.
I don't think 10 games is enough. I think 11 games is getting me in.
You're gonna need 14 wins to win the AFC West,
right? Because 11 games gets me the 6th or the 7th seed. That's what I'm thinking. So
we have, before we end, we can't end without reading. I don't know if there was another super chat,
Dorian.
but yes, we got to read Dorian's super chat. Since it's for me, do you mind if I?
Go for it.
Fluent, that's me. Great match for you to check out. Adam Cole versus Rikishi, NXT, or was that Ricochet? Sorry, see how I'm thinking right away. I was thinking old school. Remember Rikishi? Do you guys remember Rikishi? He's like the sumo wrestler. Used to. Anyways, all right. So Adam Cole versus Ricochet, NXT Takeover, and I think that's supposed to be Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair. Oh, okay. See, I don't even know who these people are. WrestleMania main event. I will check it out tonight, and I'll get back and I'll tell you next week if it was good or not. Yeah, the stink face. That was Rikishi. Yeah, that was nasty.
Oh my goodness. Well, people, why not? This is a good way to learn. Good way to get into it.
We end with Rikishi's stink face. That's how we end the show.
Heck yeah. All right, guys. Well, we're gonna end the show for now. But before you leave, make sure to get those likes up, because I think y'all have slacked on that. We have 21 likes, so go give us a like.
Here, we'll give you a minute to go like. Here we go. You ready? The Rock will take us to your likes.
Yeah, get those likes up.
I gave you my people's eyebrow.
That laugh is so contagious. No matter. Alrighty, you guys, we're gonna call it quits for today, but we'll definitely be back on next Tuesday. Make sure to join. Let other people tell them to come join. I mean, we can never have too many people. And merch, yes, JD put the link in the description. Go check that out. We're going to start adding more. And if you have any ideas, comment them under the video. That way we can get them made for you. Yep. But for now, Jay.
Take it light, but take it.
It's the only thing we understand. I'ma stand till on Jersey in the stands. I'ma hit you.